Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Looney Bin Comedy Club. Give yourselves a big round of applause for coming out and supporting live comedy tonight. All right, folks, the show is going to start in just a couple of minutes, but first we wanted to remind you of our rules of the showroom. Please keep your table conversations down to a whisper, out of respect for both the comics on stage and those seated around you. There is absolutely no heckling of the comedians. Believe me, if they need your help, they will ask you for it. There is no flash photography or video recording allowed in the showroom tonight. Please take this time to turn your cell phones off. If you need to talk or text, please step out to the lobby. And we do have a 3 strikes and you're out rule. If security has to approach your table more than twice to ask you to stop disrupting the show for others, you will be tabbed out and asked to leave. We also have a new check drop policy. We will bring you your check after the headliner is finished performing. That way you can enjoy the show in its entirety without having to worry about doing math in the dark. Your server will need to hold on to an ID or credit card, and it will be returned to you safely with your check at the end of the show. And while the servers are bringing you your checks, we will give you the chance to be funny with the Looney Bin Joke Contest. Volunteer at the end of the show, come up on stage and tell your best street joke. If the audience thinks you're the funniest, you will win 2 free passes to the Looney Bin. But let's not forget our most important rule here. Don't hold back your laughter. And now that we got all that out of the way, are you guys ready to have a good time tonight? Oh, come on, guys. You could do better than that. Are you guys ready to have a good time tonight? Your headliner tonight has been seen on A&E, Comedy Central, and heard regularly on XM and Sirius Satellite Radio. Please put your hands together and welcome back to Tulsa, Charlie Wiener. But first, Bizarre Entertainment is proud to present the Distinguished Gentleman Tour, featuring performances by Murray G., Amanda Kerri, C.R. Parsons, Demario Oates, Melissa McGinnis, Ryan Green. And now, welcome to the stage, your host and MC. He's one of our favorites here at the Looney Bin. Please give it up for Billy Bizarre.
What's up, everybody? That was sad. You guys ready for an awesome show tonight? Like I said, this is Bizarre Entertainment. We, several of us that will be in the show tonight, including myself, are getting ready to go on a tour. So this is our unofficial kickoff. So I appreciate you guys coming out and celebrating with us. I'm not going to bore you too long. I'll be up later to do that. But I do want to let you know you guys are in for a great show. We got 7 of the best local Tulsa comics. Give it up for that. There we go. Then we have the club's headliner this week is going to help us out and headline for us tonight. Charlie Wiener, give it up for him. Before I bring up the first comic, I do want to remind you guys what the announcement said. A little homework assignment. In your head, start thinking of your favorite joke. Not racist. Got to warn that every time. And at the end of the show, I'll bring a couple of you up, and you guys can compete. So we good with that? The homework assignment? All right. All right, you guys ready for your first comic this evening? Yeah. Sad. Are you guys ready for your first comic? There we go. He's a good friend of mine. Put your hands together for Mr. Murray G.
Wow. Good friend. I'm about to hurt his feelings, I suppose. Let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the living room, get that out of the way. Hey, Murray, what's with all those key tags hanging from you? Oh, those. I'm glad you asked. Well, my name is Murray G., and I'm an idiot. You know how you have those friends when you quit drinking, doing drugs, partying, they want to come up to you, apologize, and man, I'm so sorry. Well, I didn't have that problem. There's a lot of people that experiment with drugs and alcohol. Man, I was into full-blown research. And I wasn't the one wearing the lab coat either. I was more like the lab rat. But I did learn things. I learned things like don't take tranquilizers and Ritalin. That's a lot like being on a roller coaster that's going nowhere really fast. I learned things like don't take any hallucinogens and watch the Harry Potter movies. You will end up talking to a poster of Ozzy for 2 hours. I learned an important thing, and y'all might want to listen to this one because it's really important. You can plead the fifth, or you could drink a fifth, but you cannot do both at the same time. Everything you say can and will sound like, please arrest me, officer. When I was sitting there talking to Ozzy, he said, which I took as, hey, you need some help. So I had to go get some help. I went to a 12-step program, and it's been working for me so far. But when you get to these programs, they give you this pamphlet to find out whether or not you should really be there or not. And it's got some really vague questions in it. If anybody answers them really honestly, everybody qualifies. Like, do you ever drink or use alone? It's like, does video games and watching football count? Okay. Do you avoid people that are opposed to your drinking and or using drugs? You mean, do I not want to be around people that are going to bitch at me while I'm getting high? No, I don't. Do you ever suffer from frequent blackouts? Not that I remember. But I just feel like it should have had more relevant questions in it. Questions like, have you ever stolen your friend's DVD player and spent 2 weeks helping him look for it so he wouldn't check the right pawn shop? Check. Have you ever left a party at 3 a.m. and texted your friends to help you find your phone? Check. Have you ever lost your car in the driveway while you're in it? Check. I need some help. Well, there's drugs and alcohol will make you do stupid things. Like, I got married twice. And my first marriage, man, that was a train wreck. It was like gasoline on a house fire. There were two major problems with our marriage. She was a filthy whore, and I was outvoted 10-1 by every guy in town. Normal people are in that situation, and they say, all right, I can't take this. I want a divorce. I'm done. I'm tapping out. Not idiots. We break out the unabridged guide, Asshole's Unabridged Guide to Divorce. Chapter 1, be an asshole. This starts by pawning everything in the house. You stop paying bills, you quit shaving, showering, start hitting on all her friends, and she's supposed to get tired of you and leave. She was more stubborn than I anticipated. Chapter 2. Come home constantly inebriated. Okay, I can do that. So I came home one night after being constantly inebriated. Not only could I see and hear double, but it was not in sync. We tried to argue about it. I tried to argue with her, but the other her would not shut up long enough for me to get a word in edgewise. Chapter 3, because she still didn't leave, is why don't you just go somewhere to a party and just not come home? Well, that's easy. Yeah, I could do that. So I go to a party with some friends of mine about noon on a Saturday. I come home about 3 p.m. Thursday. And you think my stuff would be on the front lawn set on fire so I wouldn't even have to pack. But no, again, she is more stubborn than I anticipated. I am heavily inebriated, and she says, let's move to Kentucky. I've got enough drugs in my system to make Keith Richards and Ozzy go, whoa. And I said, yes. Which honestly, did not turn out to be a bad idea because she ended up getting homesick, and I'm single. Which is when I met wife number 2. My wife number 2 has been working out so far. We've been together for 16 years. Now, I was with my first wife forever, and being married for 2 millennia, you'd think I would learn how to argue, but I haven't. Like, me and my wife, we're one of those lovey-dovey couples. You know, those I love you more couples. It works for us. But we pretend to argue about it. And I was reading on a reputable news source, Facebook, that you've never really loved someone unless you've thought about killing them. So I had to ask, have you ever thought about killing me? I was like, no, of course not. I love you. And I said, ha! Told you I loved you more. You missed the part where I did not learn how to argue. I now have a predated tombstone. Apparently, I've got 6 months left to live. There's another thing about learning to argue with your wife. There's going to be those times when your wife wants to argue and you don't feel like arguing. You can just agree with her. There's going to be those other times when your wife wants to argue and you're going to feel validated, like you should fight back at this time. You can just agree with her. She made that decision at 3 a.m. when she woke up dreaming you were cheating on her. And it was, y'all guys have been really fun. I'm glad you thought I was funny, because I was really nervous about coming up here and telling y'all I was an idiot. But the fact you laughed in my face right off the bat really helped me open up. You guys are awesome. If you want to look for me after the show, I'll be standing outside. You just tell everybody I'm outstanding.
Keep it going for Murray G. I like y'all's energy. Give it up to yourself. There you go. All right, y'all ready to keep this going? Y'all just went from good to shitty really quick. Y'all ready to keep this going? This comic came from OKC. Tulsa, put your hands together. She made a long drive up here from OKC. Miss Amanda Kerri.
How you guys doing? Woo! This is a very special year for me, 2015. In 2015, I have spent 10 years out of the military. Yay! Woo! And I spent 10 years in the military, which makes me wonder, why the hell do I still talk about this shit? A lot of people, whenever I tell them I'm a veteran, you know, especially around Memorial Day, they always come up to me on Memorial Day and say stuff like, "Thank you for your sacrifice." And I just have to remind them, I'm alive, fucker. You're thinking of Veterans Day, all right? But yeah, I spent 10 years in the military. I am a veteran of the war in Iraq. Really, it surprises me that's the kind of response in Tulsa, you know, like in the middle of Oklahoma. It's like, yeah, even we thought the war was shitty. I'm sorry. But yeah, I am sorry it took this long for gas to get this cheap. So I guess my sacrifice wasn't completely in vain. But the thing about being in the military is that whenever you tell people in the military, they always want to like try to relate to you. They always want to try to connect and all that stuff, because that's what we do. We're people. We want to connect to others. The problem is whenever you tell people that you're in the military, if they're not in the military, they got to say something like, yeah, my brother's in the military. He's a Navy SEAL. Nobody's brother is ever anything like a fucking cook or anything, you know. They're always Navy SEALs. But yeah, I am a veteran of the war, and I'll be honest, I never actually fired my weapon. I never actually was really in fear of my life that much, which really makes for incredibly terrible stories. And, you know, I don't make a big deal about being a veteran, aside from my veteran's license plate, which keeps me from getting tickets. It's seriously, it's true. Like every other cop's a veteran, or like their brother's a veteran and stuff like that. I have to be driving on the sidewalk, drunk, hitting baby carriages before they even think about pulling me over. And then they see my veteran's license plate and go like, "Were you in the war?" "Yep." carry on. See you later, woo. But yeah, I can't really go to the, I can't go to the VFW and stuff like that, because you go to the VFW and you run into people who actually have real stories. And like, so, what about you? June 6, 1944. Utah Beach. I beat a German's face in with a shovel. Okay, what about you, buddy? I drank 65. Oh, shit. What about you, kid? I sat in a tent and played Madden for 6 months. What? It was hellish. Sometimes a good offense will take out a good defense and vice versa. Oh, God. The flashbacks. Jesus. It's traumatic. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't make for any good stories. So the problem is that you can't use it to pick up people in a bar or anything unless you figure out how to be smart about it. This is what I would do. I'd go out to the bars and stuff like that, and she'd be talking. By the way, yes, I sleep with women, so let's get that out of the way. Call me. Don't play that with me, buddy. I got something. If I decide to go there, I'll make you feel real uncomfortable. But, like I'd be up in the bar and they'd be talking to me and stuff. And you're like, so, you're in the Army? Yeah. Were you in Iraq? Yeah. Did you kill anybody? I don't want to talk about it. It's sensitive. I also use that kind of a trick with goth girls. You want to know how easy it is to get goth girls in bed? I love your poetry. But yeah, I was in the military, and I've had a lot of adventures in my life. The reason I had to get out of the military is because I had a really bad drinking problem. And when I say I had a bad drinking problem, I'm talking about like I'm the only person I know of who's ever been thrown out of a frat party for being too drunk. Okay, that takes something. But yeah, I've had, drinking problems. I've had drug problems and all that, because I was having a really hard time coming to grips with who I was in my life. And it's part of why I do stand-up comedy. And just to let you guys know, I am the only transgender comedian in the state of Oklahoma. Yeah, before Bruce Jenner came out, y'all didn't give a shit, did ya? So y'all know to clap now. Beforehand, it was like, shit, do we clap for that? What? If she was a lesbian, we'd know what to do. We watch Ellen. God. People look at like Bruce, like Kris Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner. Look, even I get it screwed up, so don't feel bad, all right? People look at Caitlyn Jenner, and like there's Laverne Cox off of Orange is the New Black. There's this one girl named Carmen Carrera. They actually wanted to make her a Victoria's Secret model, and then they look at me and go like, Amanda, what happened? I transitioned into your 8th grade English teacher. Go to hell, all right? And I do sleep with women, because I am bisexual. And a lot of people, they always try to be classy and be funny with it. Oh yeah. So you became a woman and you sleep with women? Yeah. Sometimes I feel like a lesbian trapped in a man's body too. Yeah. So when you're cutting your dick off, the conversation usually ends there. It's a strap-on. You don't need to adjust. Okay. And if I do enough Adderall, it even vibrates, okay? Oh, man, yeah, I hate talking about being transgender because, it's like there's so much more about me, and I've done so many things. Like, at this point, I hang around with a whole bunch of younger kids and younger comedians, and they're, always wanted to tell me their drugs and their drinking stories. Like, I got so high last night. Oh, really? What'd you do? I ate some Taco Bell and played video games? Cool, you drove the PT Cruiser of drugs. Big deal, nobody cares. You're lame. But yeah, I'm getting to the point where, I just don't care about certain things like fashion. I just don't care about fashion. I saw this news article on the internet where somebody was complaining about how guys, should quit wearing cargo shorts because it's old and passé and stuff like that. And I'm like, really? Where the hell else are men going to keep their privilege at? Really? But really, who cares that much about cargo shorts? Like, I was in Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning one time, and I saw a 300-pound man wearing latex bondage pants and a Fuddruckers t-shirt. And he was in the greeting card section, so there's just a whole thing going on there. And just to let you know how little I care, my only thought was, red is not your color, really. It's not working for you, man. And like with fashion, like nowadays, like guys are wearing suspenders and they're wearing bow ties and vests and like curly Q mustaches and stuff are popular. I think about that, and then I think about the fact that we have an avowed socialist running for president. Is it 1904? Hey, you know what? That Eugene Debs guy, he's got some great ideas, but I don't know. Teddy Roosevelt's got the name recognition. Wait a second, kid. I got an idea. Come here. Hashtag Negro Lives Matter. Get that one out to all my followers. My one chance to get away with that joke. But yeah, I think the worst thing that actually has to be about being transgender is that, I'm very open, I'm very honest about it, and most people are actually very cool. But, it's just like whenever you meet somebody new for the first time, you don't know how to relate to them, and you always screw it up. You screw it up every time, I'll be honest with you. But I don't get mad. Like, a lot of people think, that tranny is an okay word. Actually, tranny is an offensive word. But I'm okay with the word tranny because if you play with my stick, I will grind on you. See, that's what I love about an older crowd. They remember standards, Younger kids like, I don't get it. But I love telling people that I'm transgender for one reason, is that they always try to relate to me. And the best way they relate to me is they talk about movies and TV shows. My favorite one is this one thing called A Soldier's Girl. This movie, they always come up to me and they're like, have you ever seen the movie A Soldier's Girl? No, I've never seen it. Oh, you'd like it. It's about transgendered people. You'd like it. No, I'm not going to watch it. Why not? It's about transgendered people. Okay, look. A Soldier's Girl is about a transgendered woman who falls in love with a guy in the army. And the guy in the army gets killed by his friends because he's in love with a transgendered woman. No, I haven't seen it. But I just figured that you would like it because you're transgender. Look, Mississippi Burning is about black people. You don't see them line up to watch that now, do ya? You guys have a great night. Keep it going for a minute, Kerri. Y'all ready to keep this going? There we go, you guys. This next guy coming up is actually one of my tour mates. He's part of the Distinguished Gentlemen. He's a very good friend of mine. Put your hands together for Mr. C.R. Parsons.
Wednesday night in front of a full house. I love it. Good to be here with you guys tonight. I am so excited about this tour. I don't know if you guys know what we're talking about other than that we've been talking about it. We're going to go southeast and hit a bunch of cities between here and there. Memphis, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Oxford, Mississippi, Charleston, South Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. It's going to be a blast. But I love doing tours like that because I learn so much when I'm on the road as a comic. I did a show recently at an anime convention. Yeah, I learned something very interesting there. I learned that while I am furry, I am not a furry. If you are ever at an anime convention and you see a door that says furries, adult only, don't go in. Unless you're okay with seeing what Rainbow Bright's doing to one of those bronies. Oh my gosh. Another one I did recently, I did a social sorority show. And I wasn't sure exactly what to do, so I prepared all of my Taylor Swift jokes because it was a sorority. Then I realized that sororities do not consider anything about Taylor Swift to be jokeable. They take her very seriously. But this was a social sorority. This was a group of older ladies who gather together to do charity work, which I assume means they're all married to fat old men. So on behalf of fat old men, we appreciate the charity. I did go to Mexico recently. I learned when I went to Mexico and did a show down there that you can always come home from Mexico with a souvenir balloon. It's just not always the way you want to transport it. I also, I learned by traveling further north than here. We're fairly fortunate around here. We have some places that have decent sweet tea. Being a Southern boy, I am stuck with my sweet tea. But there are places that they do not have it. And when you ask for sweet tea, they'll say, I'm sorry, we don't have sweet tea, but we have regular tea and sugar. That does not make sweet tea. That makes sugar in tea. Does not matter how much you stir that crap, it's not blending. I've never been to my dealer and he said, sorry, we're all out of meth, but we've got Drano and Sudafed. One of the things about this tour is I am the oldest comic on this tour. Not by a little bit, by a good bit. I am the oldest comic on this tour. There are things that they do not warn us guys about getting older. Ladies, you are warned from an early age that gravity is not your friend, that these are going to become these. That cute little butterfly is going to become a condor. So I always do this. It's like a titty time machine. 40, 20, 40, 20, 60, 20, 60. They don't tell you the same thing happens to us guys, only it's a little further south. Nobody warned me one of these days I was going to have to wear board shorts to keep from freeballing. Or ask the girl I was teabagging if she could deep throat. Now you know why nobody's sitting on this front row. Is this your wife? Girlfriend? Fuck buddy? I'm sorry I have your girlfriend thinking about my junk now. It's okay, the carpet does not match the drapes. It's all hardwood down there. Okay, at 3 out of 4 hours, because if you reach that 4th hour, you're supposed to call a doctor. No, don't picture it. It looks like I'm smuggling marbles and elbow skin down there. It's like they think they're Texas and they're trying to secede. Although I did figure out that's why all old guys walk around with their pants way up here like this. They're just trying their best not to hit them on anything. I see some younger guys out in the audience. Who here is under the age of 40? Got a few of you guys? You guys are golden. Anything younger than 42, you're great. Because you can still date girls half your age. Once you turn 42, you cannot. Because at that point, they can buy their own beer. Here's how old I am. I enrolled my youngest son in college this year. My youngest in college. Let me tell you, that has changed since I was there. I was flipping through the catalog, saw a seminar called G-Spot and the Female Orgasm. They did not have that class when I was in school. I'm staring at the catalog trying to figure out why it isn't under mythology. Like anybody's seen one. Female orgasm's a lot like Bigfoot. There's video, but we're pretty sure that's all faked. But there are guys that'll spend years in the bush trying to figure out. I met one of the girls who lives in the dorm with him. He lives in a co-ed dorm. She's a sweet girl. She's a lesbian, but she's also deaf. Can't hear a thing, but she can read lips like nobody's business. I know, that's a dumb pun. I shouldn't. I am at that age where when my buddies and I get together nowadays, we don't talk about the hot chicks around. We talk about our ailments. Yeah, a buddy of mine had penile cancer recently. Oh, it's okay. We think he's going to beat it. I'm at that age where I still like to read the newspaper, not Yahoo News or Google headlines, but the actual ink on your fingers newspaper. Because you learn things by reading the article that you don't learn by reading just the headlines. Read an article the other day over in Arkansas. They had one of their community college's libraries burned to the ground. All 3 books were destroyed. Two of them hadn't even been colored in yet. I read in Ohio they shut a highway down for 2 hours because they thought they had a bomb on the side of the road. It was not a bomb, it was a container of frozen bull semen. Interesting headline, but you have to read the article. The last line was the most important. It said, the driver never realized he had lost his load. Last time I was up in Washington State, I was reading up there that Starbucks up in Washington State, where they started, is coming out with a new ultra high-end coffee. They're calling it Willy Wonka and the Coffee Factory coffee. Because that's what Starbucks needs is more expensive coffee. I'm sorry, I should not have to choose between caffeine and a Coke habit for the same price. I was wondering, though, this is Washington State, where they have legalized weed. I want to know when Starbucks is going to go in the weed business. Charlie and the Oompa Loompa factory is something I could get behind. Wow, that line made it sound like I'm stoned. No, can you imagine Willy Wonka in the weed factory? All the stoned Oompa Loompas sitting around singing, Oompa Loompa doopity dank, let's put another nug in the tank. You could finally get what you want from a Starbucks, a wake and bake brownie. They would have to change their cup sizes. It'd be small Dave Matthews and Snoop. Okay, if you had a big group, you could get a Willie Nelson box to go. After that stumble, I feel like I need to explain. I've got notes up here, and I do that for a reason, and it is because I have had 3 strokes in my life. And there are things you cannot remember after having 3 strokes. But let me tell you, if you have not had one of those, don't do it. They suck. Half of your body just quits working. For me, it was my right half. I had my first stroke while riding my Harley. Yeah, you know where your brakes are on a Harley? They're all on your right side. I was screwed. I was more screwed than an emo girl in high school. I was more screwed than a tube sock at Comic-Con. I was more screwed than an altar boy with a pretty mouth. You have to understand, I was screwed. Not the worst, though. No. The worst was my second stroke. I had my second stroke while riding my wife. You know, they say if you think somebody's having a stroke, have them stick out their tongue. If there are, it'll turn off to one side. Same thing happens with the hog. It was like, who am I kidding? I'm a white man. It was more like, eep. I looked down at my wife. I said, babe, I don't think I can get off. She looked up at me and she said, neither can I with you making faces. That's my time. I'm C.R. Parsons. Thank you guys very much.
Keep it going for CR, everybody.
I get to tour with that fucking pervert. For some of us, it is warmth here, I'm just telling you. All right, coming to the stage next is a very good friend of mine, a very up-and-coming, fast-rising comic.